So this was a debate that was held on the 16th, Wednesday, on Standing for Truth Ministry. Great channel. Give it a follow and like and subscribe if you haven't already. They provide great content, and they had Albee and Metaphysics Mike on debating, and I think they did a great job, both of them. I really like Metaphysics Mike's style. He's funny, he's articulate, he keeps the audience engaged, so great job, Mike. I asked Mike a question in the beginning, the first opening question of the questions. And the reason why I asked Mike the question is because I wanted Mike to have two chances to be able to reiterate the stance. When you ask somebody a question, the first one that it's geared towards gets two stabs at it. So I didn't want Albee to get the question, make excuses, and then Mike drop in his interpretation or his presentation of it, and then have Albee go back and kind of water it down. But I think Mike missed the subtle yet very significant point that I was trying to bring out in Exodus 7:1. And it's easy to do. I'm not blaming Mike. I'm just saying during the presentation, the debate, he might have overlooked it and paraphrased it. See, so you'll watch, and also watch Albee. When the host Donnie says the Geneva Bible, Albee kind of laughs. He laughs because a lot of people are not familiar with the Geneva Bible. The Geneva Bible came over on the Mayflower, and it was the most popular Bible version. But it was deemed pretty much illegal by King James. Some sources will say it was deemed illegal, some will say it was not, but it was basically banished and pushed out by King James because it threatened his political ideology. But you'll notice a subtle yet huge difference in the Geneva Bible. The Geneva Bible says, I have made you Pharaoh's God. Not I have made you God to Pharaoh, or I have made you like a God. I have made you Pharaoh's God. So in the Geneva Bible, it says, I have made you Pharaoh's God, which means Pharaoh has a God, and that's Moses. So it makes Metaphysics Mike's point even stand out further is, yes, Jesus can be called God to Thomas, even though I disagree with that translation rendering, the interpretation rather. There's no problem with Moses being called God, because Moses was God over somebody. I have made you Pharaoh's God. Okay, and notice they have an uppercase G, and they switch it around in the King James, the NLT, to make you as God or like a God. So I think Mike, although he did a fantastic job, I think he might have overlooked this. So if Mike gets this, please recheck the Geneva Bible. Maybe they've even dumbed down the Geneva Bible in later renditions to try and not let people see this. But I'll show you. Here, we can see the Geneva Bible here. And the Lord said to Moses, behold, I have made thee Pharaoh's God. So I have made you Pharaoh's God. Okay? I have made you Pharaoh's God. That's in the 1599 Geneva. Maybe he looked at a different year or something. And then we go to the King James, and we can see that's removed. It's I have made you a God, tiny little a God. Now God has changed. It's a God now. It's not I have made you Pharaoh's God. It's a God. So God has changed, uppercase to lowercase, and then there's an A there. It really changes the significance of it. Then look at the NLT. NLT gets even worse. I will make you seem like God. See the difference in the translation biases? But anyway, I wanted Mike to see this, and I wanted others to see this also. The Geneva Bible changes things because it shows you the translation biases, okay? It shows you how they started off, the Geneva Bible 50 years before the King James, and how they've increasingly tried to twist and bend this to fit their ideology. Now watch Albee laugh when the Geneva Bible is brought up, and then watch his face turn from a laugh to fear because he sees Exactly what I am saying. And this is not playing because I think it's...
It's okay to get a little heated and passionate here. All right, let's have some fun. Here we go. First question of the night comes in for Mike. Common Sense Christianity. $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Please read Exodus 7:1 in the GNV. 50 years.
There you go. There you go. He's got a little smug look on his face, a laugh. And then watch his laugh turn into a face of fear here in a second.
Before King James. And note how Moses as God stands out. Then read KJV and NLT. Explain to the audience why case and wording changed in later translations like KJV and NLT.
Okay, so I'm trying to pull both of these up. Okay, so in the Geneva Bible, it says, "And the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee God to Pharaoh."
Yeah, I don't know what he's reading. It's possible the later translations in the Geneva say that, but as I've shown you, I have made you Pharaoh's God. Okay, I have made you Pharaoh's God. And again, very significant, very, very significant in the presentation here of the wording. Okay, I have made you Pharaoh's God. So you are Pharaoh's God. An individual has been made God over another individual. Not, I have made you God to Pharaoh. I have made you Pharaoh's God. You are Pharaoh's God. See, so maybe Metaphysics Mike can read that again in the 1599 Geneva and just make note of this in future debates, because you can just destroy their argument. You can say, hey, in the Geneva Bible, this is the way they translate it. It shows you the translation biases, and it shows you how other people are gods to others.
Okay, but the King James Version says, "And the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a God unto Pharaoh." I get it. So now it's like lowercase and the indefinite article added. Okay, I follow you. So, hey, you know, I actually haven't been aware of this.
See, he wasn't aware of this, so you know he probably paraphrased it in his response, which is understandable. But by doing that, he kind of missed the significance of it. So I just wanted to point this out. In future debates, you can show them again ad nauseum that one person has made a God over another. Not a God. I have made you that person's God. Okay, that's a big deal. It's a big deal in the way they word it. And again, there's no lowercase letters in the Hebrew. I get that. The word there is Elohim. My point is, it shows the range, synaptic range of the wording and the way they use this, and the bias of the translators.
But this could be a part of the translator's effort to try and soften the blow.
Yep.
To soften the blow, showing
True.
the true semantic range that the word
semantic
Elohim
range
in
is
Hebrew
exactly
has.
right. Exactly right. It shows the range of how they're playing around with things. If you actually go to the Hebrew, it's I have made Elohim to Pharaoh, not I have made you a God or as a God or like a God. I have made Elohim. I have made God to Pharaoh. I have made you God to Pharaoh is the way it would translate. But you can also say I've made you Pharaoh's God because you are Pharaoh's God.
Which Yahweh used for Moses, right? If even Yahweh's using the word Elohim for Moses, we know that Jesus being called God does not entail something different. I mean, just like Moses is a human, Jesus is a human. And I think that's the obvious context in which Christ is,
and then
in fact, predicated.
Albee goes on to his excuses again.
Title God.
Mike, appreciate it. Albee, floor is yours. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, absolutely. So notice number one, what's going on here is the fact that Yahweh is telling Moses that he will be God to Pharaoh by virtue of standing in God's.
Yeah, see, now Albee can't say a God or like a God. God, you will be a God. But again, they missed the subtle GNV rendering. I have made you Pharaoh's God. See, that just blows Albee out of the water.
place on earth. Wait a minute, though. Exodus chapter
Albee,
4.
why is Moses being made God? Why is Moses being made God in the first place? Albee's not thinking. Why? Why are men being called God? Why are men being made God, Albee? Think about that for a second.
Verse 16 says, so he shall be your spokesman to the people, and he himself shall be as your mouth for you, and you shall be to him as God.
Yeah.
As
Yes. You shall be to him as God himself. Good job, Albee.
God. Not that you will be God, but you will be as God.
Not that you will be God, you will be as God. Yeah. By being as God means you have the very authority. You're like God himself. You will be as God. Albee is missing this.
But now what really, really gets me is this. In the same Exodus chapter 4, verse 12 and 15, it says, Jehovah will be with the mouth of Moses
Yes.
to teach him wisdom on what Moses will
And that's
say.
exactly what happened with Christ in Exodus or in Deuteronomy 18. I will raise up a prophet and I will put my words in his mouth and he will say all that I've commanded of him. Christ says the words you hear are not my own, they're the Father's. So in the exact same way that you will be with his mouth, or you will be his mouth to Moses, Jesus Christ was there speaking the words of God. The words you hear are not my own. The Father has commanded me what to say and what to speak. So that's the exact same way. Jesus Christ is the prophet like Moses that would be coming after Moses. Moses was made God to Pharaoh. Jesus is made God to others. Not rocket science here.
But wait a minute. In Luke chapter
But wait a
21,
minute. He's always saying, Albee's always saying that. But wait a minute, guys. Well, wait a minute.
14 to 15, here's what it says. In Luke 21, 14 and 15, it says, therefore settle it in your hearts not to meditate beforehand on what you will answer, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries will not be able to contradict.
Yep. For I will raise up a prophet like you from among the brethren. That's Jesus.
Or resist. Wow. So Jesus is going to be the one who gives each disciple wisdom on how to speak and how to talk in the same way he did with Moses in the Old Testament.
Do I get the last word?
You do, Mike. Go ahead.
That's the way I geared it. I've seen too many times where, I'll ask a question to this person, and then that person, the Trinitarian, gets a lot of time to answer it, and then the other person will have a chance to respond, and then the Trinitarian gets the last wording, and it kind of waters down your question. So I might just start asking the questions to the anti-Trinitarians and then have them think a little bit more, because this causes people to think a little bit more. Asking a Trinitarian a direct question like that, giving them two stabs at it, kind of waters it down.
So listen, Albee just he said some of the truest things I think he said this entire debate. That's right. It is being attributed, predicated to Moses. That is correct. Yep, because Moses has a title, Elohim, being predicated to him, just like I stated. So that proves my point, folks. And this is the same type of use of these words like Elohim and Theos that's being used for Christ. And I mean, such a win, such a W for the Unitarians in this debate that I have established that just being called God.
Like I said, I like Metaphysics Mike's style. Out of all the debaters, I really like him the best, to be honest with you. There's other people that might come across, maybe other people that might have more, PhDs, or they've studied longer. That's part of the debate, but debating is kind of getting the audience, and I think Metaphysics Mike has a unique style in it, and other people don't. Some other people are kind of boring. Metaphysics Mike brings the heat. He's not a slouch. He doesn't cower down, and he brings it, and he's quick. So I really like his debating style. He's not boring.
Does it make him Yahweh by identity?
Excellent job.
All right, Mike.
So, excellent job. But I would ask Metaphysics Mike and others to go over the Geneva Bible again, the 1599, and look at the way it's translated. Again, we can't make light of the significance of this. Not that Mike's doing that, but I'm just saying in general, we have to make sure that we bring this to them during discussions to show the depth and the range, the semantic range of the word Elohim. In the Hebrew, there's no like here as it's simply I have made God. So they've added words to kind of water it down. But when you look at the Geneva, when you look at other people being called God to others, then it should come as no surprise if the way you read, other translations like John 20:28 and Hebrews 1:8, which I disagree with. I think there's a better way to read them because there are variants, right? Jesus says, if you see me, you see the Father. Believe because of the works. The Father dwelling in me does his works. So do I believe Thomas was calling Jesus God? No. Thomas was addressing what Jesus had been saying all along. If you see me, you see the Father. On that day, if you see me, you see the one who sent me. Believe because of the works. The Father dwelling in me does the works. So when Thomas saw his resurrected Christ, he saw the works of God the Father also. If you see me, you see the Father. Believe because of the works. So Thomas saw his resurrected Christ and he saw the works of God the Father who just raised Jesus from the dead. My Lord and my God. Okay, God the Father is given credit for providing the works, the miracles. That's why Jesus says, now that you see me, do you believe? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe. Believe what? That he was alive. So if you believe that if you see me, you see the Father. Believe because of the works themselves. Now that you see me, do you believe? Blessed are those who have not seen but believe. It would be ridiculous to all of a sudden, after Christ was resurrected, to just say, my Lord and my judge, or my Lord and my God as Elohim. No, Thomas finally realizes Jesus is God now after seeing his resurrection. No, they're forgetting the Father. The whole point, if you go back and read John 20, earlier, Thomas was not there, right? And that's why they were saying, if you see me, you see the Father. And Thomas, I think, was there in the early, well, just look at it. Look at this. So if you look at John 20, the way they translate this, let's see, John, I'm not going to look at it in the Geneva Bible. We'll look at it in the RSV. So pull it up. And you can see here, or is that John 14? It might even be in John 14. Yeah, I think it's in John 14. That's why. Yeah, it's in John 14, I believe. Thomas was not there, but if we go to John 14, we can see where they're asking, show us the Father, show us the Father. See, that's the whole point. Right here. Show us the Father. Okay, show us the Father. And Jesus said, have been with you so long, and yet you do not know me, Philip? He who has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father in me? The words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own authority, but the Father who dwells in me does his works. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me, or else believe me for the sake of the works themselves. Okay, so it's all about the works. Show us the Father. If you have seen me, you have seen the Father. Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father in me? The Father dwells in me, does his works. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me, or else believe for the sakes of the works themselves. So, when you go to Thomas's statement, now Thomas was not there, and he says, my Lord and my God. Jesus said, have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe. Believe because of the works. The Father dwelling in me does his works. They're missing the whole point of this Bible passage. Trinitarians are by trying to make Jesus Christ God. It's about the works of God the Father also. Jesus Christ as his resurrected Lord and the works that God the Father just performed by raising him from the dead. If you see me, you see the Father. Believe because of the work. So great job, gentlemen. Excellent debate. And Yeah, debates are great. You can learn a lot from them. A lot of people have changed their position on debates, but I really like Mike's style. So great job, Mike.